Blind billionaire offered 50K for someone to be his eyes for a week. She said, "Deal. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Romance Rewind Stories." Before we dive into today's incredible story, I have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying these heartwarming tales, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. It's quick, it's free, and it's the best way to support us in bringing you more emotional romance stories. And here's something I'd love to know. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing our amazing community from around the world. Oh, and if this story touches your heart, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us grow and reach more people who love these kinds of tales. Now, let's get into today's story. Blind billionaire offered 50K for someone to be his eyes for a week. She said, "Deal." The classified ad was buried on page 3 of the newspaper, sandwiched between lost cat and roommate wanted. Seeking sighted companion for business trip. 1 week. Must be articulate, professional, and comfortable describing visual details. Compensation, $50,000. Serious inquiries only. Sable Monroe read it 3 times, her hands shaking so badly the newspaper rustled. $50,000. That was exactly what she needed for her mother's experimental cancer treatment that insurance refused to cover. The treatment that could give her mother 6 more months, maybe a year. She pulled out her phone with trembling fingers and dialed the number listed. "Sterling residence," a crisp voice answered. "I'm calling about the ad," Sable said, her voice steadier than she felt. "The companion position. Your name and qualifications?" "Sable Monroe. I'm a doctoral student in art history, so I'm trained in visual analysis and description. I've also worked as a museum docent, which means I'm used to translating visual information verbally." There was a pause. "Can you be here in an hour for an interview?" Sable looked down at her paint-stained jeans and oversized sweater, her usual grad student uniform. "Yes, absolutely." The address led her to a penthouse in the most expensive building in Manhattan. When the elevator opened directly into the apartment, Sable's breath caught. The space was stunning, minimalist, elegant, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city. But what struck her most was how deliberately organized everything was. Nothing out of place, clear pathways between furniture, tactile markers everywhere. "Ms. Monroe," a man's voice came from her left, deep and controlled. "Thank you for coming." Sable turned and felt her heart skip. Kai Sterling stood near the windows, and even knowing he couldn't see her, his presence was commanding. He was probably in his mid-30s, tall and lean in an expensive charcoal suit. Dark hair, strong features, and eyes that were a striking pale grey. Beautiful eyes that looked directly at her, but didn't quite focus. He was blind. The ad made sense now. "Mr. Sterling," Sable said, then mentally kicked herself. He couldn't see her extended hand. "You can shake my hand," Kai said with the hint of a smile, extending his own. "I'm blind, not fragile." His hand found hers with surprising accuracy. There must have been some kind of audio cue she'd made without realizing. His grip was firm, warm. "Tell me about yourself," Kai said, gesturing to a chair. "And please, describe where you're sitting, what you're wearing. I need to know if you can actually do what I'm hiring you for." Sable sat, gathering her thoughts. "I'm sitting in a leather armchair facing you, about 8 feet away. It's positioned to catch afternoon light from the western windows. I'm wearing jeans and a navy sweater with paint stains on the sleeves. I was working on my dissertation research this morning. I'm 28, about 5'6", with dark brown hair that's currently in a messy bun, and I probably should have dressed better for this interview." Kai's smile widened. "You're honest. I appreciate that." He sat across from her with a precision that spoke of years navigating his own space. "I lost my sight 3 years ago. Degenerative condition. Since then, I've relied on assistance, technology, and my other senses to run my company. But next week, I have a series of crucial in-person meetings that require visual assessment. What kind of company? Sable asked. Sterling Art Holdings. We acquire, authenticate, and sell high-value artwork. Next week I'm meeting with sellers in 3 cities, New York, Paris, and Florence. I need someone who can be my eyes, describe the pieces in detail, note condition issues, help me assess authenticity. You need an art expert, Sable said slowly, understanding dawning. I need someone I can trust, Kai corrected. Someone who won't lie to me about what they see, who won't try to take advantage of my blindness, who can translate visual information accurately. My regular assistant quit 2 days ago, family emergency, and everyone my company has sent over treats me like I'm helpless. They either hover or assume I can't do my job. You can do your job, Sable observed. You just need accurate visual data. Exactly, Kai leaned forward. So here's my question, Ms. Monroe. Can you spend 1 week traveling with me, attending meetings, describing everything you see with complete honesty? It will be intensive, long days, high pressure. But I'll pay you $50,000. Sable's mind raced. A week away from her dissertation, a week with a complete stranger, a week pretending she belonged in a world of billionaires and priceless art. But $50,000. Her mother's treatment. 6 more months with her mom. I can do it, she said firmly. When do we leave? Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Kai stood, offering his hand again. I should warn you, this won't be easy. The art world can be cutthroat, and people will try to manipulate the situation when they realize I can't see. I need you to be my advantage, not my weakness. Sable shook his hand. I won't let you down. What she didn't expect was how quickly being his eyes would become something much more complicated. The next morning, Sable arrived at a private airfield with a hastily packed suitcase and a nervous stomach. Kai was already there, dressed in another immaculate suit, a guide dog, a beautiful German shepherd, at his side. This is Maven, Kai said when he heard Sable approach. She's been with me for 2 years. Maven, this is Sable, friend. The dog's tail wagged, and Sable reached out to pet her, then stopped. Am I allowed to pet her while she's working? She's off duty right now, Kai said, and Sable could hear approval in his voice. Most people either ignore her completely or try to pet her while she's guiding. You asked first. That's good. On the private jet, Sable tried not to gape at the luxury. Leather seats, a full bar, more space than her entire apartment. Describe it, Kai said from across the cabin. I can hear you trying not to react. Sable laughed, embarrassed. It's beautiful. Cream leather seats, dark wood accents, soft lighting. There's actual art on the walls. Looks like original prints. The carpet is so thick I feel like I'm walking on clouds. I've never seen anything like this. Good, Kai said. Now describe yourself. What are you wearing? Sable looked down at her hastily assembled professional outfit. Black slacks, white blouse, black blazer. The blazer is from a thrift store, and the lining is torn, but you can't see that from the outside. Sensible flats, because I wasn't sure how much walking we'd do. Minimal makeup, because I'm not very good at it. Hair in a professional bun instead of my usual messy one. Why did you need $50,000 so badly that you answered a classified ad from a stranger? Kai asked bluntly. Sable hesitated. My mother has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. There's an experimental treatment that might give her more time, but insurance won't cover it. It costs exactly $50,000. Kai was quiet for a moment. I'm sorry about your mother. And I'm sorry that saving her life depends on working for a demanding, blind billionaire for a week. I'm not sorry, Sable said honestly. This is an incredible opportunity. I get to travel, see art I'd otherwise never access, and help my mom. That's not something to apologize for. You're very direct, Kai observed. You said you wanted honesty. He smiled slightly. I think this week might be more interesting than I anticipated. The first meeting was in New York, a private collector selling a supposed Caravaggio. Sable stood beside Kai in the collector's ornate sitting room, studying the painting while the seller hovered nervously. "Describe it," Kai said quietly. Sable took a breath and began. "It's a large canvas, maybe 4 by 5 feet. The composition shows a young man in period dress, dramatically lit from the left side, very characteristic Caravaggio lighting. The darks are deep, almost black. The highlights are intense, focused on the subject's face and hands. The brushwork looks consistent with 17th century technique. I can see individual strokes in the impasto. But, Kai prompted. "The canvas looks old. The craquelure pattern seems right. But there's something about the varnish layer that bothers me. It's too uniform. Caravaggio's works usually show more variation in varnish application, especially in the shadows." Kai turned to the seller. "My associate has concerns about the varnish layer. Would you consent to a technical analysis?" The seller's face paled. "That won't be necessary. Perhaps I was mistaken about the attribution." Outside in the car, Kai laughed. A genuine, delighted sound. "You just saved me from buying a very expensive forgery. A convincing one, but still a fake. How did you know?" "I spent 3 years studying authentication techniques for my dissertation," Sable explained. "You learned to spot the small inconsistencies. You're worth every penny of that 50,000, Kai said. "Actually, you're worth more. I'm doubling your payment." "What? No, you don't have to." "I'm not being charitable," Kai interrupted. "You just saved me from $1 million mistake. 100,000 is more than fair." Sable felt tears prick her eyes. 100,000. That was the treatment plus 6 months of her mother's mortgage. Financial breathing room she hadn't had in years. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you," Kai replied. "Now we fly to Paris tomorrow. Tell me what you see out the window." Over the next 3 days, Sable and Kai fell into a rhythm. She described everything, not just the art, but the cities, the people, the light. How the Eiffel Tower looked at sunset, the color of macarons in a patisserie window, the way the light in Florence was different from Paris, softer and golden. And Kai listened with an intensity that made her feel like her words were painting pictures in his mind. "You're a natural at this," he told her in Florence, after she'd spent 20 minutes describing a contested Botticelli. "Most people describe what they think is important. You describe what's actually there." "It's because I'm used to looking," Sable said. "Art history trains you to really see, not just glance." "I miss it," Kai admitted quietly. They were alone in his hotel suite, the day's meetings finished. "Seeing art. It was my life before the blindness. Now I can touch. I can hear expertise in authentication. But I can't see the beauty anymore." "I could describe more," Sable offered impulsively. "Not just for authentication, but for beauty, if you wanted." Something shifted in Kai's expression. "You'd do that?" "Of course." So she did. That evening, Sable described the sunset over Florence, the way the terracotta roofs glowed amber, how the Arno River reflected copper and gold, the purple shadows creeping across the hills. She described the frescoes in their hotel, the texture of the Italian meal they ordered, the way candlelight played across the table. And Kai listened like her words were oxygen. "You see the world beautifully," he said when she finally stopped. "Most people would describe the sunset as orange and pretty. You made me feel like I could see it." "You can see it," Sable said. "Just differently now, through words, through touch, through other senses. It's not less than visual sight. It's just different." Kai reached across the table, his hand searching. Sable met him halfway, their fingers intertwining. "Sable," he said quietly. "This week was supposed to be a business arrangement. But somewhere between New York and Florence, it stopped feeling like business." "For me too," she admitted, her heart racing. "I can't see you," Kai continued. "I don't know if you're conventionally beautiful or not, but I know your voice makes me want to keep listening. I know your laugh sounds like music. I know you see the world with such wonder that you make me feel like I can still see it too. And I know that when this week ends tomorrow, I don't want to say goodbye." "Then don't," Sable said. "Kai, I came here for the money. I needed it desperately, and I'm grateful. But this week with you, describing art and cities and sunsets, it's been the most alive I've felt in years. You make me see the world better. You make me want to describe everything beautifully because you listen like it matters." "It does matter," Kai said. "You matter." He stood, moving around the table with that precise navigation she'd come to recognize. His hands found her face, gentle, questioning. "Can I?" he asked softly. "Yes," Sable breathed. When Kai kissed her, it was tender and searching, his hands mapping her face like he was memorizing her through touch. And when they broke apart, both breathing hard, Sable knew this had become something neither of them had planned. "Come back to New York with me," Kai said. "Not as my employee, as... I don't know what to call this, but I want to keep seeing you." Figuratively speaking, Sable laughed through happy tears. "I want that too. But Kai, I need to finish my dissertation. I need to take care of my mom. I can't just..." "Then we figure it out," Kai interrupted. "I have resources. You could work on your dissertation from New York, visit your mother whenever needed. Or I could come to you. We make it work because this..." He'd between them. "This is worth making work." "You barely know me," Sable protested weakly. "I know how you see the world," Kai said. "I know you're honest and kind and brilliant. I know you treat my blindness as a fact, not a tragedy. I know you make me laugh and challenge me and describe sunsets like poetry. What else do I need to know?" "That I'm falling in love with you," Sable said, the words tumbling out. "That this week was supposed to be about money, and it turned into something I never expected. That the idea of this ending tomorrow makes me feel like I can't breathe." "Then it doesn't end," Kai said firmly. "We extend the contract. Permanently." "What does that mean?" "It means I hire you officially," Kai said, "as my art consultant and visual liaison. You work with me on acquisitions, you help me experience the world visually through your descriptions, and I pay you a salary that lets you care for your mother and finish your dissertation without financial stress." "Kai, that's too much." "It's not charity," he insisted. "You're genuinely brilliant at this work. You saved me from one forgery and helped me acquire 2 genuine masterpieces this week. You're worth far more than I'm offering. But more than that, I'm selfish. I want you in my life, Sable. If employment is how we start, then that's where we start." "And if it becomes more than employment?" Sable asked. "Then it becomes more," Kai said simply. "But first, you describe one more sunset with me, then we figure out the rest." 6 months later, Sable stood in Kai's, their, apartment, watching him navigate the space with Maven at his side. The doctoral defense had gone perfectly. Her mother's treatment was working, not a cure, but precious time. And Kai had just acquired a veneer that Sable had authenticated. "Tell me what you see," Kai said, coming up behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. "I see home," Sable said softly. "I see a man I love who taught me that sight isn't just about eyes. I see a future I never imagined 6 months ago. I see us." "Describe us," Kai murmured against her ear. "We're standing by the window, the sunset painting us in gold light. Maven is lying nearby, content. There are art books scattered everywhere, your collection mixing with mine. Coffee cups on the table because we both forgot them this morning. Your suit jacket draped over my desk chair, my shoes kicked off by the door. It's messy and perfect and ours." "I love how you see the world," Kai said. "I love you." "I love you too," Sable replied. "And Kai, I'll keep being your eyes for as long as you want me." "Forever then," he said, and kissed her as the sun set over Manhattan, painting their future in shades of gold. A year after that first classified ad, Kai proposed, not with a traditional ring, but with a sculpture he'd commissioned, designed to be experienced through touch, with an inscription in Braille that read, "You gave me sight when I thought I'd lost it forever. Marry me, Sable's answer was yes, followed by a 20-minute description of how the sculpture looked in the light, because that's what they did. She saw for both of them, and he heard beauty in her every word. Because sometimes $50,000 and a desperate classified ad lead you to exactly where you're meant to be. Sometimes being someone's eyes teaches you to see the world more clearly than you ever did before. And sometimes the most beautiful thing you can see is a future with someone who makes you want to describe every sunset, every work of art, every moment of beauty for the rest of your lives. And that's where our story ends today. What did you think? Did Kai and Sable's unexpected love story touch your heart? Let us know in the comments what your favorite moment was. If you enjoyed this story, we have so many more waiting for you. Check out our playlist for more heartwarming romance tales that will make you believe in love all over again. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Your support means everything to us. Till next time, keep believing in love, keep believing in second chances, and remember, the best stories are the ones that remind us we all deserve our happily ever after. See you in the next story.